Your turn, Yogi boy.
What is up, guys? This is AlintheaYoh coming at you today with an updated version and kind of a debut of my Blue Eyes deck. So this is the pure deck without Chaos Max Dragon. So just because I'm changing it up a little bit, and yeah, I really like the deck. But honestly, it gets a little bit boring to play. I know it's kind of weird. AlintheaYoh is profiling a meta deck, but you know, what can I say? So without further ado, we'll go straight into it. So you can see the list. So, starting us off, we have 3 Blue Eyes Alternate Dragon. I don't even need to say much about it. It's one of the main cards of the deck. One of the key combo cards as well, because you'll just normally summon it, pop a card, then summon like a level 1 tuner, go into Spirit, so on and so forth, shenanigans, carry on from there. So yeah, I don't really say too much about that if I'm completely honest. 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon. You play them because you have to, otherwise the deck doesn't function. Don't need to say again too much about it. Some of these might be very self-explanatory, but yeah, we'll go on from there. So next up we have the 2 Dragon Spirits of the White, or Dragon Spirit of the White. Card is good. It's very good, but at 3, it's way too much. It's too cloggy. Some people are running it at 1 as well. I find 2 good because it just means if you banish 1 with Pot of Desires, it doesn't mean that your back row removal has gone out the window. So yeah, the card is really good, really nice, and yeah, it's a nice Blue Eyes monster. Next up, we have 3 Sage with Eyes of Blue. Card, again, very good. One of the key cards of the deck, being able to just search out your level 1 stones or your eggs, I guess they're more on, not stones, but either way. Or your Effect Veiler, which is obviously really nice if you're ending your combos, so you know you can't go too far, like finishing with a Spirit, and this is, and a Veiler is actually pretty strong. So, yeah, Sage with Eyes of Blue is really good, and obviously its other effect, if you want to summon out, like normal summon an egg, and then you activate its effect to send that to the graveyard, and this, summon out Blue Eyes, and then in the end phase, or depending on which one you got, or you sent, you can either special summon a Blue Eyes, or you can add it to your hand, depending if it was Ancients or Legends. So, yeah, but you'll see them in a little bit. You can see one of them right now. We have 3 White Stone of Ancients. Card is really good. Being able to just, you know, special summon the Blue Eyes in the end phase, including Spirit, really, really nice. And yeah, it's just a good card. Some people play it at 2. It's good at 2, but you are expected to, or what I would expect there not to be many discarding outlets if you're only playing it at 2. So yeah, the fact that White Stone of Ancients is just good in general is nice. And then also I play the 1 White Stone of Legend, simply because it's actually nice and good at times to be able to get a Blue Eyes to your hand if you have like an alternate but you don't have a way to summon it. You know, it's pretty strong, and there's a couple of other card choices that helps you with that, which I'll get into in a little sec. Then we have 2 Effect Veiler. For the hand traps, you have 2 Effect Veiler and 2 Maxi. Rip Maxi, you got limited. You will rest in peace. Hopefully it means I can actually get my ultis a little bit easier, but yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. So the hand traps are really important. Effect Veiler, as I said, obviously can be searched, and Maxi keeps decks in check this format, because I expect there to be a lot of special summoning decks. You're going to see probably a lot of well, not anti-meta, but just, I guess, decks that you wouldn't really consider meta that special summon a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw things like Heretics and Gladiator Beast pop up. You might laugh at me, but heavy special summoning decks, and of course Performer Pals are still around. The Pepe deck's still here, so I think Maxi's a really strong card right now, and I don't really agree with why they limited it. I understand fully why they did it, but I still don't think it was probably the right card to hit. There are other floodgates that really hurt the game, but again, it's nice to see that they're testing it out, so I don't mind it too much, to be honest. 2, 3 Pot of Desires. Here we are. The card is very flaming expensive, trust me. Pot of Desires is perfect in a deck like this. I've said all along that I don't like the card as such because a lot of the decks that I play are really combo heavy orientated. So things like Quick Draw Synchron, Fable, so on and so forth. They really need a lot of the cards, and basically all cards in deck they need. With Blue Eyes, that isn't really the case. You need a handful of cards to really get your combos going. But not only that, you're playing a ridiculous amount of multiples of them. You're basically playing 3 of all the important cards. And as I said, the chances of banishing like a playset of a card that you need is like 0.2 or 2.6 something percent or 6% or something really low. So it's actually really good in this deck, and I think if you're playing Blue Eyes and you can afford the Desires, if you really want to compete for the meta, you kind of need to play these cards. If you play 2 or you play 3, it's down to yourself. I don't resolve 3 obviously in a game, but the card is just really good, and is kind of needed if you want to play the deck, in my opinion. There aren't really any cards that really replace itself. A lot of people ask me, I can't afford this card, what would you replace it with? It's very difficult to say what you could replace it with, but honestly you would want to max out on drawing cards, like the Cards of Consonance, the Upstarts, the like 1 day a piece, or the trade-ins, anything like that. You really want to max out on the draw power. So that's just an example, so it's something for you to think about if you don't want to spend out on the Pot of Desires. Next up, we have the 3 Melody of the Awakening Dragon. Card is obviously very important, gets all your combo pieces going. It's a 1 card alternate dragon, pretty much, apart from the discard, but you know what I mean. So yeah, really good. You play it at 3, kind of needed. Then we have one of the most crazy cards in this deck, the Return of the Dragon Lords. This card single-handedly can win you games. And, you know, being able to protect your dragons as well is insanely important. So, yeah, I really like this card, and especially in the mirror matches when you're crashing a lot. You crash and then banish, so, you know, it's good. 3 trade-in, we have lots of level 8s, so it makes sense that we play 3 trade-in. It's one of the best draw cards for the deck. It helps you load up your graveyard with like Spirit or original Blue Eyes, Vanilla Blue Eyes. So, yeah, it's really important and really good card in general. Next up, I'm playing 2 Dragon Shrine. Now, the theory behind Dragon Shrine, first off, 3 is too cloggy, you don't need it at 3. Theory behind Dragon Shrine is it helps me kind of extend my plays in the fact that I can set up the graveyard for Return of the Dragon Lords and also Silver's Cry, which I haven't seen just yet. But it also means that I can protect future plays in the fact that I put, for example, like stones in the graveyard. If I have an alternate dragon in my hand, I can send a Blue Eyes and then also send like a White Stone, a Legend, and then White Stone Legend nets me a plus into a you know, Blue Eyes White Dragon. So it's actually really good. I actually really like the way that it's working out. And it's definitely something to recommend to you guys to consider if you aren't playing it. I know that not a lot of people are actually playing it, but it might be worth you testing it because it is a great card for the deck. As I said just then, we have played 2 Silver's Cry. You might think 5 basically reborn cards might be a bit much, but honestly I don't think so, because you can basically be a little bit careless in your plays, in the fact that you can make big Xyz plays or big Synchro plays and then just keep bringing it back. If your opponent does like Solemn Warning something, or get rid of it in any way, shape or form, as long as they don't banish it, the Silver's Cry is really good to bring it back, and also just in general being able to attack in the battle phase with it, well, activating the battle phase I mean, is really, really strong. So yeah, the 1 Soul Charge, Soul Charge is broken in this deck. Being able to just, as you saw in the World's Final, just recur your board so much. Being able to just fill it up with monsters and sit there. You don't mind sitting there for a turn not being able to attack, because you just make a ridiculously crazy board where it's really difficult to break. So Soul Charge is absolutely amazing. The 1 Raigeki is just really good this format in my opinion. So yeah. The 1 Cards of Consonance. So, as you saw in the final, the American player bricked with Cards of Consonance. And I've been an advocate for this card because you play 4 targets, basically. But at the same time, you only play 1, in my opinion, because it bricks. It hard bricks. It's one of the cards that is a lot harder to pull off. Unlike Trade-In, where you have more level 8s that you can easily recurse. The stones, apart from summon it with Sage and Searching, it's a little bit more difficult. And it does mean that you're giving up your normal summon. Excuse me, whereas with trade-in targets, they're easier to recurse from the graveyard deck, so on and so forth. So the 1 Cards of Consonance is actually okay. Fun tech! 1 Dragon's Mirror. I really like Dragon's Mirror, being able to, as you'll see in the little bit in the extra deck, with the Blue Eyes Twin Burst and also the Neo Blue Eyes, I just quite like it. It means that I can really push my opponent and also make some big end game plays. So a lot of the times the way I'll use Dragon's Mirror is by whistling my opponent down with my normal monsters with like Blue Eyes and alternate and also like Spirit and my Xyz, and then I'll make a big push with Dragon's Mirror when I've wasted all their resources. So that's why I like it, and if I don't draw it, it's not the biggest deal. If I do, I can normally summon it. And then going on to the traps, we have a Solemn Warning and a Vanity's Emptiness. I feel that these are the best 2 cards, the best 2 traps for the deck. Solemn Strike's fine, but Solemn Warning, I don't have that much space, and Solemn Warning is really good. Just in general, these are the best traps for this deck, as I said. And yeah, that's that. So going on to the extra deck, as you saw in the at the start of the video, we are playing a 1 Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. As I said, this is now why I play Dragon's Mirror. Dragon's Mirror is really good, obviously, with this. So you just banish your Blue Eyes, really easy to summon. And yeah, it's normally an end game type thing. You only have one target to send, which is this. But honestly, a 4/5 attacking monster, you shouldn't really need to attack a ridiculous amount of times. And also, it only works if this is the only card on the field. But you just have a 4/5 beater that is beating your opponent down. So it's so good. And also its graveyard effect is pretty ridiculous. So if you don't know what the graveyard effect is, I'll just quickly read it out. It's you can banish a card from the graveyard. Joining the player's turn, when a card or effect that activates that targets the Blue Eyes monsters you control, you can banish this card from the graveyard and negate the activation if you do destroy the card. So it's nice built-in protection as well, so pretty decent. Then we have the 1 Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. A little bit easier to summon because you don't need the Dragon's Mirror, but in general it's still a really good card. It's more if your opponent has multiple monsters and you just want to kind of beat them down a little bit. But yeah, Twin Burst isn't really often that summoned. Sometimes it is used for food for the Neo Blue Eyes for the multiple attacks, but yeah, so still a really good card. Next up we have the 2 Spirit Dragon. Card is so good, so good. It really makes the deck playable. And yeah, just in general you need to play it. Alongside you play the Azora Eyes as well. 2 of those bad boys, they are some of the key combos that you will be going into with this deck. So yeah, in general, really good card. Then we play the 1 clear Crystal Wing, Crystal Wing is really good because obviously you can bring it out with the Spirit. But you won't be doing it very often, only in clutch situations. So yeah, it's only if you really need the protection. And then the same with the Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. Again, if you just want to clear boards away, it's a really good card. Then we're playing the 1 Doesn't Matter Dragon. Oh, every time I see this card, it brings back bad memories of when I did that Heretic profile. Anyway, Dark Matter Dragon is really good in this deck. I didn't play it in the Chaos Max Dragon deck. On my behalf, that was a mistake. I didn't need it when I was testing, but when I did further testing, I actually needed it. So I hold my hands up to that one. That was my mistake, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you clocked onto that, so that's fine. So we played the 1 Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon, and then obviously the 1 Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. And also alongside it, just other targets, we played the Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon. Cards are just really good on their own. But obviously you will probably be using them. You'll probably use, the way that I do it is I use Cypher Dragon for the overlay, and then I use Full Armor on its own. So I'll just give you an example of how I play the cards and how you might want to play them as well. Then we have the number 38 card. Is really good. Being able to end with this and you know, a Spirit or something like that, really strong plays. So card is just good in general. The 1 Felgrand, you know, monster negation is still good. Not being able to, like, you know, die and all that is absolutely amazing. So the 1 Felgrand is obviously very important. The 1 Alcee as well is actually good just for spinning cards back if I want to get rid of anything annoying. Or if, for example, like my opponent has Utopia Lightning. Obviously, we don't have that in Europe, but in testing, I've seen it a lot on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro. It's just good to spin it back or just get rid of it in any way, shape or form, so I don't have to deal with it. And then finally we have the Heliopolis for the final monster in the extra deck. This is just to clear the board of any monsters that I don't want to see, and just in general gives me a good discard outlet as well if I have Dragon's Mirrors, Dragon's Mirror, or Return of the Dragon Lords, or Silver's Cry if I want to get any cards out of my hand like that. So yeah, it's a really solid card for that. So that is it, guys. Let me know down in the comment section about what you think of the updated Blue Eyes deck. This is the pure one. I know some people do run Brilliant Fusion in the deck, and I actually did test Brilliant Fusion, but what happened was I want to keep this deck as least combo-y as possible. I think that's the best way to go about it. A lot of standalone cards and cards that only require 1 or 2 other cards. When adding in Brilliant Fusion, and especially with Pot of Desires, you really run the risk of drawing a lot of brick cards. And I know it's cute that you can send Lazuli and a Blue Eyes to the graveyard and then add it back. Really cute plays, and then you get 2 summons, but I never found needing it. So I did the original Blue Eyes Brilliant Fusion test for like a day, and then did the other one for after that, and it was just so much better without Brilliant Fusion. I just constantly didn't fear drawing dead, especially with the Pot of Desires draws. One time I drew a Brilliant Fusion and a Lazuli off that. That was painful. And you only have a one Lazuli in this as well. So yeah, but that is it, guys. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of the deck. Obviously, there will be a replay after as usual, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Make sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the deck, and I shall catch you guys later.